hearings are performative. They're theater. And, they're not the kind of debate or open conversation that democracy would give us at its ideal. And then so all of those senators are taking hundreds of thousands of dollars, including, in some cases, millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. So they don't want to hear the answers to the questions that they ask me. They want to make a little speech and then shut me down. But they can't deny the fact that we did worse than COVID, that the CDC is a broken agency.
And just like that, Monday again. Wow. How fast these days are going. I can't believe how quick September's already coming. Hey, friends, renegades, welcome in. Robert Imbriali with you today. Lots to talk about, lots of weirdness happening, I'm going to say. Just before going live, maybe an hour ago, I noticed that, I wasn't able to transfer. I work on this main computer, and I have another computer that sends the PowerPoints into the feed, and PowerPoints weren't going over. They weren't syncing between the two computers. I'm like, what's going on? So I was kind of curious. I went into Grok and I said, hey, is there an outage with, it's OneDrive that's in the back that, bounces off of OneDrive between computers. Is there an outage? And it comes back and it says, yeah, there's a global outage in OneDrive. I'm like, okay, that explains it. It's not me, it's them. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me go check email. Oh, I can't check email. Email's failing. Okay, what's going on? Is the internet connection? Oh, the internet connection's good. It tests out fine. What's going on? Not sure. And then I said, well, let me, set up for streaming and let going. Well, I've got 4 connections that are normally working. Today, only 3 are. One connects and then disconnects and won't continue. So you got to be asking the question, what do you think's going on out there? Kind of weird, huh? To have that many outages from all these disjointed things having happen at the same time. Kind of interesting. I'm looking at this and go, okay, there's something more here. Maybe we'll have to keep an eye on it. We know we've been hearing the stories for many, many years that, hey, there's going to be outages. There's going to be an internet blackout. I don't know. Could this be the beginning of it? Could it be the start of it? I'm just looking at the statistics, and we're streaming okay on 3 connections rather than 4. So maybe we can handle this, not a problem. But it sort of makes you wonder what is going on. Hey, I've been hearing from a lot of you that it almost sounds to me like people saying more cowbell, but what they're really saying is more buckshot. Right? What they really want is they want to hear from our buddy Paul Harmon again. They really like the show on Friday, so thank you guys. I appreciate that. It was a little bit different than what we normally do. Bruce was excited about it as well, so we'll probably be doing a little bit more of that. It's going to be a little bit hard to have Bruce on the shows going forward here. He is going to be joining the campaign with Louis Herms for California governor. He's going to be joining the campaign, I think, next week or the week after. He'll be out here in California, hopping from city to city, and they'll be on the road for a while. And I don't think he will be able to do the shows like we've been doing before. So we'll see. His availability will be variable. Let's just leave it at that to know whether or not he'll be able to hop on the shows. So, we'll put it on the back burner for now. And, I think when it settles out, maybe come November or so, maybe we can get him on and we can do a regular mindset motivation kind of show. I know you guys enjoyed it. So that was good to hear, because that was the question we all had was, well, can we really talk about this stuff? Will this audience really respond to it? And you guys did well. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, 5x5. Thank you, Master Baggy. Appreciate that. It's always good to know that I'm coming across loud and clear. Okay. So where do I want to start today? I want to start with this idea of accountability. It is something that's kind of gotten stuck in my craw over the weekend, if you will. And I know for a lot of you, it's the same thing. It's I think we're just tired of hearing promises, right? And we're tired of seeing corruption, and we're tired of seeing everything that's kind of going on in our society. It's like this little girl that was murdered here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's like so what's going to be done? Are these judges that let this guy out? Are they going to be held accountable? We keep hearing it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, but it never seems to arrive. You ever notice that? It just never seems to arrive. There's big stuff coming, big stuff's happening. And it doesn't seem like it ever arrives. And I know, for a lot of people are getting, the frustration is building. It was high all summer, but now we're into the fall. We're really supposed to see it. Come on, it was supposed to be June. No, then it was July. No. It'll definitely be August. No, it'll definitely be now September. And now we're hearing, it'll be October. Really? How much more can you take, right? So one of the things when I do coaching programs, when I sell coaching, masterminds, that kind of thing, the number one thing that people request, the number one reason they sign up, is one word: accountability. Right? We need to hold ourselves accountable. Our leaders may not, but we need to hold ourselves accountable, right? And in the mastermind, that's really good because I get to hold them accountable. Also, the other people in the mastermind holds everyone else accountable, and they hold me accountable too. And we get a lot done because that accountability is really important. So we make a promise. We say, this is what we're committed to. This is what we're going to do. And then we follow up a week later. Hey, are you working on it? Did you make any progress? Oh, you didn't? Okay, let's talk about where you may have gotten stalled or may have gotten stuck, that kind of thing. So it is a really important thing. We all know that we need it. We all know that if we exist in a vacuum, we go nowhere, right? If you have no accountability partner, if you have nobody around to kind of hold your feet to the fire, nothing happens. And I think that we're starting to see that on our leadership and our political leadership, right? Nobody's really holding their feet to the fire, and you realize, well, it's because so many are playing on the same team. Yeah, they wear red, they wear blue, but they're really on the same team. And they don't attack each other. And you say, well, where's the accountability there? Well, there isn't any, right? And it's frustrating to see it. It really is. So, I look at accountability as the thing that pushes us forward as a society, as an individual, right? Without accountability, you may make all kinds of promises on New Year's Eve. Hey, I'm going to do this, and this the coming year. But if no one's there to hold you accountable, you're going to slip back into your old patterns. And most people slip there within the next day or two. Some people will last a week, but most people after the first 30 days, they're right back where they were if they don't have accountability. Now, if you have a politician who's not accountable, who can spend money, taxpayer money, not their money, and if they make a mistake, if they lose it, if they misplace it, if they give it to the wrong people, they're never held accountable. Never. So how does the system change if that's how it works? Well, it's the same thing when I coach people. If there's no accountability, they don't change. They just go back to their old patterns and they continue doing what they've always done, right? So I think it's going to be incumbent upon us to really, blow the whistle and be loud, on social media and in person about what is going on that we disagree with on all levels. And it starts locally, obviously. It just seems insurmountable at times. You go to the school board meetings and you see the school board and they're just like, they lock arms and they won't let anybody in. They won't let any opinions. And you've got, 2 minutes to state your piece. You can't get anything out in 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Or some people might say, oh, you get 5 minutes. That's nothing. It's not enough time to make a point or there's just not enough time. So if we're not going to be able to hold them accountable, we get nowhere. And we continue to get what we've been getting. So what's interesting is if you look at President Trump, it's interesting with him that he makes promises and he keeps the majority of them, the vast majority of them. So he's changed the game a little bit. He's raised the bar, right? The bar's way up there now. It's like, make a promise, keep a promise. Oh, what a concept there, right? You don't do that with your significant other. You're in big trouble. So you make a promise, you keep the promise. You say, I'm going to do this. Get it done, the timing may be the thing that's a question, but you'll get it done eventually. And that's what's important. So, he's changed the game as being a typical politician. This is the biggest thing that I see when I look at him. I look at what's going on there. That's the biggest thing that I see that's changed. That's different, if you will, than anything else. Anything else these other politicians have done or anything that he's done to raise his stature. Because the promises sound great. We hear some of the things he says and we want that. And then he gets it done. Wow, what a concept, right? As opposed to, I always remember this with Bill Clinton. He would make all kinds of promises and it would sound great on the campaign trail. And then as soon as he got elected, all those were gone. Didn't do any of them. Completely went in a different direction. Obama did the same thing. It's kind of the game they play. They say what you want to hear to get in, and when they're in, then they forget about it. Tired of that. I think we're ready for something new here. So we're not always going to be able to follow up. I understand that when you make a promise, sometimes things come up or things happen that make it impossible for you to follow through. Own up to it. That's all I ask you to do. Own up to it. Say, listen, I promised you this. This is what happened. Here's the reason I can't make that happen right now, but certainly it's important, and I'll look forward to being able to do it when I can. That's all. You raise in stature in people's minds when you're able to do that. And why we don't see more in the political world, I have no idea, but it has to happen, right? When you do that, there's another thing that happens that's really important, and I think that's why Trump's approval ratings are so high, is because he says he's going to do something, he does something, right? For the most part, he gets it done, and it raises people's trust in him. Hard to trust somebody who says, I'm going to do this, and they do that instead. Well, now you've been lied to. Now you feel betrayed. So it raises a level of trust. And we need that trust, really, in our candidates, our leaders, right? We need that trust. So I think it's our job to hold people accountable. I think it's our job to start screaming from the rooftops, if you will, when they're not following through with what they promised to follow through on. We have a lot of that here in California, crazy amounts of it here. We can go through pages and pages and pages of stuff that has been promised and never gets delivered. The bullet train to nowhere is one. What's it been, 10, 15 years? They've been throwing billions and billions of dollars there, and there's like 1,500 feet of track laid. That's it. It's not a project. That's a money laundering operation is what that is, right? You call this promise, but nothing ever happens. We got to hold their feet accountable. So a lot of people ask about social media. I was watching, as you guys maybe know, that I've been watching a training, a 4-day training. Actually, it was a 4-day training. And there was internet marketers, an internet marketer after internet marketer. And there was these two young girls there, probably in their early 20s. And they're getting all kinds of traction on social media. And they're doing some really great things. So I'm looking at that. I'm saying, okay, how do we apply some of the strategies that they use to make sure that our voices are heard? So that's what I'm working on right now. I want to share that with you once I get it figured out a little bit better, how we can use social media to really get the message out. When a politician doesn't do what they said they're going to do, we should be able to make us think about it on social media. I know a lot of you are like, oh, I'm not going to share that with my friends. I'm not asking you to. But you can still put it on social media. There's some people will do, and this is maybe something, if you don't like to share things with your friends, put up another account, don't use your name. Like put up a Twitter account and don't use your real name, right? You could do that. Or X account, I should say, not Twitter, x.com, right? Put up an account there, go to Gab, there's a lot of them that don't require a real name. I think Facebook, Instagram may be the only ones that really require a real name. And then you can have an account where you post and you use the correct hashtags, and you have the ability to answer comments and comment on it yourself from another account if you wanted to, and that'll push it and it'll keep going. So a lot of people will do that. If they don't want their name associated with it, doesn't mean you can't use social media. So think about that. Think about setting up another account on some of these services that you really want to share things. You really want to get your voice out, because it is the sum total of all of us posting about certain topics that starts to make it, quote unquote, an issue, a big deal. And if there's only one or two of us doing that, that's not really going to be enough. You got to have a lot more. So I think it's real important to, as we come together as a group here and we continue to build as a group, it's important to be looking at ways that we can raise our collective voices to make a difference. Because it's easy to sit back and do nothing, and then all we do is complain. It's like nothing's happening. Well, what have you done? What have you posted? What have you talked about? Did you talk to your friends about? So did you mention anything? Did you share anything? Did you comment? Did you post a question? Did you anything on any social media post where it would help advance the messaging that you want to get out there? And for most people, no, they won't. They're passive. So if I look at things I post on social media, and I look at, oh, wow, I've got 30 likes or 40 likes or, whatever the number is, right? Small. If I see like a small number, the reality is Maybe 400, 500, 1,000 people saw that message. Wasn't enough to move them, but maybe you think about it in terms of, maybe I planted a seed. Maybe somebody saw my message, didn't react, didn't respond. A lot of things I scroll past, probably the majority of things I see on social, I don't respond to. You wouldn't be able to, right? So you respond to the ones that are the most important. And you realize that, you're planting seeds, because the more people see that messaging, the more it starts to resonate with them. And that's our goal, really, just get stuff out there. And don't rely solely on the metrics. A lot of people get caught up in the numbers, right? Oh, nobody liked my post, only 2 likes. Okay, how many people saw it? You don't really get that metric, right? They don't tell you that. But how many people saw it? A lot more than you would think. Because just look at your own habits on social. How many times you scroll past things and don't react to them, but read them. You read it. Oh, interesting. And you just keep scrolling, right? So that happens a lot. So we're planting seeds. That's what we need to do. And we've got the powerful tool called social media. There will be more executive orders, from what I hear, banning social media companies from censoring us, because that should not be happening in the way that it's happening, but it has been, and it continues to be that way. So hopefully we'll get to a point where that won't be the case anymore, and then we can move on and say, hey, this is pretty cool. Interesting. Okay, what else has been going on in the day today? Because it's been quite interesting day. I wanted to show you this video. I think this one was pretty funny. Look at this thing. This is the Tree of Prosperity in the Wind Palace in Macau. Gold and brass leaves. The tree is worth $256 million. Oh, well, it was when they posted this story. Probably a lot more today. Look at this thing. Coming up out of the floor. I was wondering, are they going to raise it up? Or are they just going to leave? No, they're raising it up. I don't know why you would do something like this, but they say the Chinese love gold. Yeah, I can see that. Gold and red. That seems to be the colors in China, the wealthy colors. Look at this thing. All these gold leaves. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Well, that brings me to what I really was looking at today and seeing more than anything. Gold prices kind of went through the roof, didn't they? Let's see here. Here's one of my slides that did actually transfer over. Not all of them did, but gold hit an all-time high again today. And where does it here? This one's showing 36.25. Actually, that's an old one. I think it went a little bit higher than that. So yeah. 36.25. That's up a lot. It was a couple of weeks ago. It was like 3,400, wasn't it? It went 3,500. Bam! It just went right through it. And people are getting excited and they want to get in gold. They want to buy in silver, because now silver is it touched 42. I think I come very close to 42 today. So everyone wants to buy in now. Now that the prices are up, everyone wants to jump in. So I'm asking a different question today. I'm asking, okay, what's the sign here? What's the signal? What's causing this to happen now? What are the people, quote unquote, in the know expecting? Are they expecting financial turmoil ahead? Well, there are 13 states right now, to give you an idea, that are on the verge of a recession. Huh? What? I thought the economy was roaring. California is bordering on being in that warning space. So not too far off from being in the recession space. Some states are doing really well, but it's not across the board. And how do you know things are not going as well as they could go? Well, you go food shopping, don't you? And what do you notice? It's funny, I posted this on Facebook on Saturday. I said, tell me if you think that the food prices by you are higher, or are they going down? Are they getting higher, or are they going down? You know that Facebook post went nowhere? After 24 hours, not one like, not one view, not one comment. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why that particular post got throttled. Interesting. I don't know. I deleted it, but I'll probably try it again, because it was like, well, maybe it was, fell between the cracks or something. I got to try it again. I want to know. But, what are you seeing? Everybody I talk to, right, I'm asking this question. It's like, what do you think? The grocery prices, they higher or lower? Everyone says they're higher. Much higher. In some cases, they're seeing the prices go up and the quantity of what they're buying go down. So 500 grams is now 400 grams. 12 ounces is now 8 ounces. Same price or higher price. And people are asking, what's going on? I thought, things were so much better. And it was when you get to the point, you just realize, okay, what's really going on here? Can you really rely on government numbers, right? And, here's the gold price in Canada hitting, what did they say it hit? Here, $5,000 an ounce in Canada. So again, you're asking the question, it's like, well, what's driving this? What's going on? If prices are going higher and gold is going higher, is there a sign here that something's a little bit weird? And I think there is. I think there's something going on here. I can't, I'll give you my idea about it. What I think is going on is I think what's going to happen is that there's going to be financial turmoil going forward. And I think it's going to happen this month. I think it'll be sooner rather than later. And it's one of these things like, how do you prepare for it? How do you prepare for it? Well, one thing you can do is to get into some of these metals. I know the prices seem high right now. They seemed high a year ago, right? Gold is up almost, I'm going to say $800 an ounce in the last year, from last September to now. How do I know? Because I bought a gold coin last year, right? And I could see it's almost $1,000 more. Worth more, $1,000. I just held on to it. I put it in my closet and it's worth $1,000 more. So you might think, oh, we're at the end of the run here, but we're really not. I think we're really at the beginning of the run. By the way, if you didn't do this already, go over here to renegademedia.tv/silver and sign up. We're doing a silver coin giveaway. It ends at the end of the month, so we still have a little bit of time. Renegademedia.tv/silver. And the more you share it, the more entries you get. And we should thank our buddy here, too. If you're thinking about gold and silver, you can buy some at veritymetals.com/renegade or call Matt at 480-717-9081. He's a sponsor of our show, and thank him for that. And, we've had the conversation with him many times about the price of gold and the price of silver. And his thought was, don't worry about it. Doesn't really matter if you get in now or you get in, if you got in a year ago or if you get in now, it doesn't really matter because it's going to continue to go up. And we're starting to see that. It doesn't seem like, it pulls back. It pulls back a little bit, but not very much at all. And, it always makes up what it pulls back in the months ahead. So something's happening. Guys, keep an eye on it. Just keep your eyes open because it's a little bit wonky out there.
All right, Burger King, one Whopper with cheese, no onion. What is it going for where you guys are right here? It is $9.44 for just the burger. That's not even the meal. You think this is a $10 burger? Does this look like a $10 burger? No, that looks like a $6 burger at best. All right, stop buying this overpriced shit or you're always going to be poor. Okay, stop buying this shit.
So, you're seeing that. My brother sent me a picture of the price of coffee. He had, I don't know why, he took a picture of coffee in 2022, what the price was. It was like $8.99 for a pound of coffee. And I think it's $16.99 now. It's like 3 years later. It's crazy. So the prices continue to go up, and up. And it's interesting. We're not the only ones talking about it. Here's another report.
According to that poll, more than half of adults consider grocery prices a major source of stress. That feeling shared by many Chicago area shoppers. At this South Loop grocery store, sticker shock and frustration.
No matter if it's organic or if it's regular, it's still going to be an arm and a leg for it. It's like you're spending your soul on groceries.
Tria Hudson of South Shore says regardless of the store, prices continue to rise.
We have sweet butters that used to be about $1.99, and this is now $3.29. Eggs went down, but everything else went up. This is sad.
And she's not alone. A new poll from the Associated Press and National Opinion Research Center shows the vast majority of adults, at least 86%, consider the cost of groceries a major or minor source of stress, with only 14% saying it causes them no stress.
A loaf of bread costs us $4, and it looks like it's getting smaller. Yes.
Do coupons help?
No.
In the past year, the latest Consumer Price Index data shows the cost of groceries are up nearly 2.5%. But since the start of the pandemic, groceries are up 28%. Though inflation has moderated since 2022, prices have not pulled back.
Even though over the past year, prices are up 2.5%, 3%, that doesn't sound so bad. It's on top of a higher base, and that's the cumulative effect. That's really what people are feeling.
Bankrate's Ted Rossman says supply chain issues have eased, but prices have largely risen because of the cost of labor and raw materials.
there's just been higher costs across the board. As workers, we love to get paid more, but as consumers, we don't want to have to pay more for things.
And Rossman says for now, the impact of tariffs has been lessened by companies absorbing much of the added cost, though that could change in the coming months.
It's kind of interesting. The last guy that was on there, and he was saying, the cost of labor is what's driving a lot of this stuff up. Is that the $20 an hour mandated minimum wage here for food service workers? That may have a lot to do with it. I don't think it's everything, though. And he also said something interesting. He said supply chain. So raw materials, the cost of raw materials has gone up. Cost of labor has gone up, obviously, because your employees can't continue to exist as the prices go higher and higher. They need more money. They got to pay their bills, right? And they can't exist on the old salary. So we're seeing a lot of different things in play right now. And you got to assume, right, if you're looking at what's the trend, where's it going, you got to assume that there's going to be a breaking point at some point here. There are a lot of people who are buying less groceries. They're switching brands. They're buying the store brands rather than the brands they would normally buy. We're seeing a lot less variety on the shelves as well. I noticed a couple more companies are gone. It's kind of interesting. Companies that were making products I was buying, I'd go in the grocery store and I was like, they're not there anymore. That's interesting. What happened? You go look online and the website's gone. Company's gone. So their company's still going out of business. It's not a rosy picture. We would hope it would be, but at this point, it doesn't appear to be. Joey, I agree with you. Coffee is like gold right now. It's really, really true. It's the prices are up on that dramatically, and we're going to see it. As we continue into the fall season. This is the buying season. This is the season where we spend a lot of money, right? From September to the end of the year is where most consumers will spend the most money. And normally, when that happens, we'll see a lot of sales. I wonder what Black Friday will look like this year. I always use that as sort of my measuring stick, right? The greater the sales, the greater the discounts, the worse the economy. That's how that works. So if you have, 50, 60, 70% off sales everywhere, then, the economy is really bad. And what they're doing is doing anything they can to bring in a few dollars so they can keep the doors open. So a lot of companies will do that. So the greater the discount, the worse the economy is doing. So we're going to get a feel for it. We've got a lot to unravel here. The other thing that he was talking about, you started the lady saying $4 for a loaf of bread, and she says, here's the key word, it's smaller than it used to be. Yeah. That's exactly what's going on. We're seeing that a lot, in the grocery stores. I'm seeing what used to be 12 ounces is now 8 ounces or 10 ounces now. And sometimes they even shrink the bottles of the stuff that you're buying, or maybe they don't. Maybe they use the same bottle, but don't fill it up all the way. It's one of those things. So we're paying attention. We want to know the economy is I think it's most important to all of us. Certainly, our dollars have to go where they go, and we have to find ways to bring in new dollars if our money's not going far enough. And we're seeing it. One of the things that I was seeing in the Internet Marketing Seminar that I was attending the past 4 days was a lot of them were talking about sales being down, which is the first time I've heard that from that industry in a long time. Right? I don't think I remember seeing another time when they were saying that it's harder now to make sales. It's harder because there's less money floating around. Well, wait a minute. Is the economy doing better? Those are the metrics. You look at them and you look at what's your lived experience. What is it like really for you in the street right now? What is it like? And everyone's saying it's a little bit harder. And some people are saying it's a lot harder. Unless your salary is keeping pace, but a lot of people, their salary goes up 1 or 2% a year, 3%. Oh, that's a big raise. Not enough. And he said something interesting in that report too. He said, we look at inflation and we might say, well, it's only 1.5%, 2%, but it's 1.5%, 2% on top of the 26, 28% it was under Biden. That hasn't gone away. So instead of 28, now we're up 30 from 3 years ago, right? So I think that's where we're hitting that pinnacle now. We're hitting the top of that where it's getting much more challenging. Yeah, guys, we really want it better. We just want it to get better. All right, I'm going to skip this video. This video, I don't like that one. I'm going to put X across that one. We're not doing that one. Not at all. Yes. Let's see. There's a video here. That's in my list, but I don't have it queued up. Isn't that interesting how I do that? I always forget a video. Why did I forget a video? Hey, Now, let me see if I can find it for you real quick. It's not showing up. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's go to this one. Singapore is... You're going to laugh at this one. Singapore is running out of trash. That's right. They're running out of trash. Crazy. Listen to this.
This is crazy. The Chinese government just announced that some cities are running out of trash. Yep, you heard that right. There's not enough garbage. Some cities are digging up old landfills while others are buying trash from nearby towns. What's going on? Before 2010, garbage was a huge headache in China. With its massive population, cities were drowning in trash. 2/3 of urban areas were surrounded by waste. It polluted the air and threatened groundwater. That's when Du Xiangwan, a top engineer, proposed a bold idea: turn trash into electricity. Instead of dumping it, China began sending waste to power plants, where high-tech incinerators burned it cleanly. No harmful emissions. Even the leftover ash gets turned into cement for building roads. The result? No pollution, no smell, and no landfill problems. Today, China has over 1,100 waste-to-energy plants. Each ton of trash produces 200 to 500 kilowatt hours of electricity, bringing in $15 to $40 per ton. Now they're burning more than 800,000 tons of garbage a day, more than cities are producing. So what do? They've started buying trash for about $7 a ton, just to keep the plants running. Trash has officially become a valuable resource, and China is now exporting this technology to over 40 countries. So here's the question: which country needs this the most?
I think many do. Right? That's a cool idea. Turn a problem and find a solution to a problem that it really helps everyone, which I think is pretty cool. Now, my question there is, how do they burn it cleanly? That's interesting, because there's so many toxic chemicals and plastics and all kinds of stuff in the trash thrown in there. How do you burn it cleanly? What does that look like? Are they cleaning the smoke? Are they cleaning the... is that really what they're doing? And I like the fact, too, here that they're using the ash from this to use it and using it to make cement, rather than putting it back like we do here in the United States. A lot of times they're taking waste product and they're putting it on the crops, right? They're using it as fertilizer. Yeah, not a good idea, right? A lot of people have been against this for many, many years. So yeah, this is kind of neat. I kind of like the using of the, now, if it's cash positive where it's making them money, there's an incentive to do it. But if they're running out of trash, well, yeah, I guess you could overbuild maybe and go in the other direction and say there's just not enough trash. We've been too good with our trash, right? We kind of get to that point. Oh, funny. Yeah. So let's see here. Where do we want to go from here? We have a lot of different things we could talk about. Oh yeah, I watched a video this week. I've been using stevia as a sweetener for years and years. So I found a video the other day, and one of the things that stevia is, it's antibacterial, antifungal. So it kills the parasites and stuff. I didn't know that it did that, really. I just learned that a few weeks ago. It's kind of interesting. And so one of the things he said is if you use it over the long term, I've been using it, 20 years or so. I've been using it for, as a sweetener. And apparently it does a lot of damage to the gut over time. Who knew? So, yeah, if you're using stevia, you don't like the chemical taste, you don't like, potentially the damage that can do to your gut. I'm going to send you to this website here, renegade.club/sweet, and I want you to learn about Dulsa. It's a sweetener that is yucca root and allulose is the two main ingredients in it. Allulose, by the way, they have a report out. I don't think they have it on this website, but there's a report out on it that it actually helps with insulin sensitivity. It actually helps reverse that a little bit. So it's kind of a cool thing. That little pouch, I bought mine, I'm going to go back, April, and I still have like another month's supply, and I use it every day. So there's a tiny little scoop in there. You only need a little bit. It makes things plenty sweet, and there's no chemical aftertaste. You've got to try this for yourself. Renegade.club/sweet, and it's really a great product. I'm really a big fan of this product. Actually, I have another pack right here. So ready, waiting. It's been sitting here for a while. I've been waiting for the first one to run out so I could use number 2. Okay. Let's see. You know, your delivery driver, they come to your house, and when they deliver stuff, they take a picture of it, and that's supposed to be proof that they delivered the item. Is it really, though? Is there a way that people could get around that and scam it? Well, this guy figured it out. Look at this guy. Really glad they have him on camera. Oh boy, yeah, there's no excuse for that. It's crazy. People. Yeah, so it shows you the photo is not really proof that things were delivered. And, now what's the customer going to do? Go back and say, hey, I never got my stuff. They're going to, well, I got the picture here. It looks like it was delivered. It was on your patio. Now he's got the Ring camera video, right? So he can go back and say, well, look, your guy dropped it, took the picture and walked off with it. Not very helpful. Now, maybe, just maybe the guy was at the wrong address and he realized it after the fact. Oh, darn, wrong address. He's going somewhere else. So maybe that's not actually what happened. I'd like to think that way. Yeah, keep an eye on it. Kind of interesting. All right, California. We are, as you know, a very winning state here, right? We're number one in so many things. Let me share with you what we're number one in. This is something I came across my desk the other day. Well, number one in homelessness. After having billions of dollars invested to fix the problem, it's only gotten worse. Number one in poverty. Number one in addiction. Number one in gas prices. Number one income tax rates. Number one in gas tax. Budget deficits, retail theft, citizen exodus. I think they said 6 million have left California in the past 10 years. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. Number one in COVID mandates, COVID school closures, COVID business closures, illegal immigration, funding illegal migration, illiteracy. Of course, the schools are trash here. Wage stagnation, frivolous lawsuits, worker restrictions, anti-business it just goes on and on and on. Businesses don't do well here. Let's face it, it's a challenging state to do business in. The rules are over the top. I had my studio in Carlsbad, and I get a bill from the city of Carlsbad. And on the bill, they asked the tax bill, and they asked me how many desks I had in there. I had 5 desks. I was the only guy working in there. I had 5 desks, different things that I do here and there, that kind of thing. I had to pay tax on 5 desks, even though I was the only person in there. And then they came in and they said, oh, look, you've got a copier. You got a copier, photocopier that's leased. Well, you got to pay property tax on the copier. Huh? I'm already paying sales tax on it, on the lease payment. Now I got to pay property tax on top of it. It's not even mine. It's a lease. At the end of the lease, it's going back. Oh boy, the nuttiness that's here. It's a state where the employees literally have all the power over the employer. So it is very difficult to fire somebody and not get sued. It's very difficult to have any kind of challenge with an employee and the employer not lose. The laws are all in favor of the employee here. And you might say, if you're an employee, hey, that's great. But the balance has to be there, right? It can't be all the employer's side either. It has to be a good balance, a good equal balance and that kind of thing. And you've got to be able to get what you need to get. You can't tell your employees what to do. You can't be mean to them. It's just like, it just goes on and on and on. And it's challenging. It's a challenging business environment. That's why so many have left. Tesla's left, SpaceX has left, and you're going to see many other companies leave as well, unless things get turned around. And, if Lewis manages to prevail and become governor of the state, he's got a lot of hacking and whacking to do. Got to get rid of a lot of these really anti-business laws here. It's a tough business climate. You do not build a really strong state when you have laws that are so anti-business. You just can't. Business, small business especially, is the backbone of any economy. And, I always say this, when we're in a recession, the only group that ever gets us out of these binds is the small business. They're nimble. They get to move. They get to figure things out. All the entrepreneurial types, when we see disaster, we look for opportunity in it. We see things that are going bad. We look for how do we make them better, right? All this garbage, what do we do with it? Our guy comes around. Hey, what if we burned it? What if we turned it into electricity? Hey, what a brilliant idea. Hey, look, now there's no more garbage, right? And that's what we do. So it's always this community that ends up being the ones that finds the solutions. And if you attack this community, guess what? That's the end of your state. And it has been declared, if you think about, 2008 when Obama got into power, he declared war on small business. First thing he did, literally, and he said it, we're going after small business. Why would you do that? Why would you go after the hand that feeds you? That first $1 trillion, it was $870 billion or whatever it was, somewhere in that range, when he first got elected, Obama. Do you know where that money went? It didn't go to stimulating the economy. That's what it was supposed to go for. It went to make the government bigger. He created a whole bunch of government jobs with it. And that's how he saved the economy. You don't save the economy by adding a bigger burden to the economy, because a government job is a burden. Government only has money when they come after you and I and they tax us. It's only where the money comes from, right? So you don't build a stronger economy by doing that. You build a stronger economy. What if you took that $870 billion and you gave it to small businesses as loans? And you said, okay, you're doing this, you're doing this. Why don't you hire 2 people, we'll pay for it. Why don't you, whatever. And that money into the hands of the private sector would have been much better used, and the economy would start to roar. That's why I keep saying, Donald Trump keeps talking about getting rid of federal income tax, right? And if you look at that idea and people go, oh, that'd be horrible, it's just because you're conditioned to paying it, right? Doesn't mean it's a horrible idea. Now think about what would happen, right? We're not a society that saves money. There are other societies that's all we do is save money. We're not that. We're a consumer society. That's what we are. So if you had 30%, 40% more of your income in your pocket, chances are you wouldn't be investing in all of it. You'd be spending a lot of it. And what would that do to the economy? Of course, it would roar. And of course, every time you buy something, there's tax, right? Both federal and state. Sales tax is state, but there's also a federal tax on the goods and services as they move from hand to hand, right? So all the tax income would go through the roof. Wouldn't need the income tax revenue. You wouldn't. But it's a transition to get there. Trump is doing what he can with tariffs, and people say, "Oh, it's the tariffs that are raising the prices for food." Not yet. Not yet. Haven't seen that. There's a lot of food production that actually happens inside the United States. So it doesn't really go outside the United States. It's not being tariffed. I don't think there's tariffs on the food that comes up from Mexico, that kind of thing. So there's some options here, and I think we got to keep looking forward. I think that's really what's going to happen. We're going to find some good stuff. All right, what else do I have for you here? Okay, if you guys don't know, you can follow me on renegademedia.tv, also at Renegade Media on Telegram, 2 places that, post a lot of stuff on Telegram. Yeah, I know, some people say I shouldn't post that much, but, it's so much going on. It's just bubbling up and bubbling up. It's Monday, and, it's strangely quiet for a Monday as far as the news cycle goes. With some stuff bubbling up on the weekend. We had a lot of fallout from the RFK Jr. Hearings on Friday, right? And on Monday, it's strange. It's like a little bit of a vacuum right now. There's not a whole lot going on. I've been scrolling through and trying to find some stuff that there's really nothing big. Which, if you know anything about tsunamis, right? What happens before a tsunami is the tide goes way out and everything gets really calm. And then what happens? And the tide comes back in and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going. So I'm kind of expecting that. And that may be the bigger explanation for gold and silver prices rising. I may not be the only one thinking that way. I just may not be the only one thinking that way. Never noticed that Democrats never post anything pro-Democrat and always anti-Trump? Can't win people's minds if all you're doing is pushing against. You only make it stronger. Anything you don't like in your life, you're still including it when you hate it. The more you hate on something, the more you're including it in your life, and the stronger it's going to get. So, not a good strategy, guys. You got to do better. You really have to find a way to do better. All right. In the crazy department, let's see what something crazy that here. This was an older article. I just came across it today. Barbie releases a doll with type 1 diabetes as diagnosis rise among young children. Trying to normalize things like that is just an absolute insanity. Trying to normalize the LBGT stuff and now diabetes and heart issues among the children. Right? They're not normalizing it. It's not normal. It's not supposed to happen. Ever is that supposed to happen. But, we know where it's coming from. RFK Jr. is being attacked heavily, and he's about to release his report on autism. And when that comes out, I think a lot of heads are going to roll. People are going to be blowing up. Parents especially are going to be upset when they find out what's really going on. Oh, they're talking about Tylenol right now. Remember, that's only one piece of the puzzle. There's more to it than that. So as we start to look at this, I can't wait for it to come out. I'm going to do a special show when it does, because it's a conversation we need to have, and we need to get that information out as far and wide as we possibly can, because people need to know. You really do have to know what's going on there. All right, I think, there's one more thing. All right. This is only for my Apple fans out there. For those of you who are not Apple fans, this story is not going to help enlighten your day much. There's an Apple event coming tomorrow, and that means the new iPhone's coming out. They're going to release the new iPhone, and it's going to be, they'll announce it tomorrow. It probably won't be released until either Friday of this week or Friday of next week is usually what they do. And there's some pretty big improvements. Apparently, this is one of the biggest updates to it. The updates in the past have been moderate, but apparently this one's going to be really big. And so what is of interest to me, instead of a 4K camera, they're moving up to an 8K camera, double the resolution of the front-facing camera as well. So, again, they're trying to jump ahead of the pack, right? Is what ends up happening is Apple will tend to do that. They'll jump, and then Samsung and the other guys, the Android guys, will catch up really quickly. So it's always this thing. Doesn't matter if you're on Android or Apple. If you like your phone, you like your phone. I don't get into the one is better than the other. There's so much on par today. We can use the same apps, we can do the same things. Does it really make a difference? No. Whatever you're comfortable with. And by the way, it's really hard to jump platforms. So if you're an Android and you spent hundreds of dollars on all kinds of apps, if you jump to Apple, you have to buy those apps again, because they come from a different store. And there's no continuity between the two. That could be something that could be fixed in the future. That would be really nice to be able to do that. And then you could switch platforms, but they really don't want you to. I think that's one of the things that they do to keep you locked up in, one platform or another. So I'll be watching that tomorrow. I'll be able to report on, what they come out with and what the new deal is going to be. I do a lot of video and a lot of photos with the phone. Always with me for that reason. And, it's one of these things. It's like it's a tool for me. And, I'm excited about that part of it. All righty. What else is on my list here? Do I have anything else here? Oh, yes. Guys, boy, the new show. We've done 6 of them. We've done it now for six weeks in a row. Yeah. The Thursday Throwdown. Boy, this is getting a lot of popularity. People are really loving the conversations. We had Matt Geiger on this past Thursday. If you didn't catch the show, go back and watch it. We cover a lot of ground. We cover a lot of different stories, and it's more conversational. And, you get different perspectives. And I think that's what's important. So I got some invites out for this week's show. We'll see who is ready and able to come on this week. But Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back with the Thursday Throwdown. Always a lot of fun. Always a joy to do that show and host it. You never know which way the conversation's going to go. Literally, you never know which way it's going to go. Always fun. Cool. Yeah, calm before the storm, Joey. You're exactly right. I think that's exactly where we are. And we're certainly in that space right now. I'm going to keep an eye on all these outages too. This is interesting. I've never seen so many outages that aren't connected. So I'm looking here, my AT&T, that one is still offline. So I don't know. And, I'm missing some slides in my deck here that didn't come through. No, there's one that did come. Hey, look at this one. Where I wanted to start the show. finally came through. Elon Musk says, now do you understand how much a legacy, aka mainstream media, lies simply by ignoring a subject? Choice of narrative is their primary form of deception. And the little meme says, good evening, here's what we want you to believe today. So where does that come from? That comes from this idea about this murder in North Carolina of this young Ukrainian girl, right? Mainstream media completely ignored it. Didn't fit the narrative. Didn't fit the narrative, they don't report on it. So that's deception. And you can see a lot of that goes on. They did not report on 2020. They did not report on everything that you and I have been talking about since that date. We had so much information, so many receipts that we could share. They didn't report on it. They called it the big lie, and that was it. They closed the book on it and they moved on. And, we recognize that in all of this, you, me, all of us play a role. Right? And we have to. I will grant that we were taken off guard in 2020. We really were. I don't think any of us expected what happened. It caught us all off guard. It took us a while to get our bearings, get our feet under us, and start to organize. And I think we're moving in that direction right now. Gosh, really? It took 5 years? Okay, it took 5 years, but we've got some momentum now. Let's keep it going, right? And, when things like this show up and the mainstream media is not sharing it, we got to share it. Because on a platform like X, we become the media. And what's interesting is a lot of people on the left have left X because it became too truthful for them. They didn't call it that, of course, but they left. We remember when it was Twitter, we were kicked off it. And they dominated. And I would call Twitter the dumpster fire. I had all these followers. I had a big account. I would never go on it. Never. There's nothing on there of interest when it was being heavily censored. When Elon took it over, it wasn't long. It was like a week or so later that all of a sudden a lot of the censorship started to come off. Not all of it. And it became a place to go. So I encourage you, if you don't have an X account, x.com, go get one. It's free. Because all you need to do is start scrolling through and you'll see the news before mainstream gets it. In fact, sometimes it can be as much as a day before or sometimes even longer. Or mainstream media won't cover it at all. So if you want to be informed, that is a tool for you to stay informed. All right. Thursday's next show. Thank you guys for all your support for our Friday show with Paul Harmon and Bruce. Bruce, I believe, will be available this Thursday. We're going to have to take it week by week because I know his schedule is going to be very busy as we go forward here. I know that he's going to be on the campaign trail with Lewis for a bit, and that always takes a lot of energy and a lot of time. And we're going to keep doing the show, and we'll have different guests on, different co-hosts if that's what's required, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. I appreciate you giving this a thumbs up, giving it a like. I appreciate you sharing it with your friends and followers if you like it. And, leave a comment. The chat room's great, but the chat room goes away when the live stream stops. So if you really like it, put a comment in the comments below. Now, I know the bigger part of our audience, most people will watch this on the replay. So if you're watching this on the replay, your comments are appreciated. I do look at them all. I do like to hear from you and see what's going on in your mind and what things are you concerned with right now. And, are you seeing things the way I'm seeing them? You don't have to. You don't have to agree with me. It's fine. That's what this whole thing's about. I grow when I learn from you and I learn a different perspective, and you grow learning from me as well. And then that's the symbiosis, I think the right word, that I like to have. You help me, I help you, and we both grow. That's the way it works. All right. That is the end. I actually had a couple more stories, but like I say, I'm having trouble getting them to the proper computer so I can present them to you. Oh, well, such is life. We'll hang in there. We'll keep making it happen. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Appreciate you. Love all of you. And we'll see you back here Thursday. Thursday will be the Thursday Throwdown show, and it'll be a fun one. Always fun. Thanks for watching.